Hello, Professor Davidson. Today I'll be talking about the Chinese and their motives for coming to America in the mid 1800s, as long as uh, the discrimination that they had to face and uh, just how they were as people and their beliefs, general stuff like that. So the main reason that they chose to immigrate to America was because they saw potential growth, specifically in the state of California, which was big on mining at the time. They had industries, and the Chinese wanted to get onto that. They did so. They came to California in large groups, pretty big groups, and they lived like that, and they worked and mined like that. They did so because it was their societal structure back in China, and it was just part of their beliefs and their culture. They believed that big numbers meant more power of and capability of getting things done, which came out to be really true. And they did get a lot of work done in the mining fields. They made a lot of gold, and the Americans saw that. And instead of trying to copy what they did, what the Chinese did, and um, implement that in their own mining, um, they got jealous and they just uh, they would wait till the Chinese got a good amount of gold, and they would kill and just murder them and take their gold, which was, in my opinion, really sad and wrong, but they did that. And a specific governor that disliked the Chinese people was Governor Bigler. He was the third governor of California. He served in 1852, and he didn't like them so much that he didn't even see them as European immigrants. Um, he passed a few, or state of California passed a law basically saying that it was called the Chinese police tax, basically saying that if any Chinese or anyone that hires a Chinese has to pay a tax of $2.50 every month, um, trying to limit the amount of Chinese that were working and being somewhat being somewhat successful at that. But um, be doing that, and any transaction that was made coming from the Chinese, the Americans mostly chose not to do business with them and shut their businesses off to not have to deal with the Chinese, and that forced the Chinese to basically create their almost like Chinatowns. That's why there are some today. But creating Chinatowns and just a societal group that is only made up of Chinese people that deal with mostly with only each other. Uh, and that was pretty easy for them to do because that's how they were back in China. They dealt among themselves. They did business with themselves, with their ethical group. So they were successful at that. Um, and they were able to handle their own affairs that way, and it was just a lot more simpler for them. The Chinese were discriminated again in 1882 by President Arthur and Congress. Basically, it was the first time a prohibition of entry of any ethical group was made by Congress, and it was aimed at the Chinese group, which prohibited them entry to the American soil. Um, so yeah, uh, in conclusion, they were discriminated against a lot over the years, and treated with very poor to little or no respect at all by the white Americans. And yeah, that kind of concludes it all. Thank you for your time. Have a good day.